You're calling from an 808 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Oh shit! Hey, guys, Sebastian from Honolulu,
Hey,
and
Sebastian. What's going on?
uh, oh fuck, I'm on a speaker. Let me turn it off. Just a quick update in terms of like the Hurricane
Actually, you should
Hector.
get back on speaker. I hear you. Yeah, just or speak into the phone and just speak clearly and slowly, and we'll let you say what you got to say. Go for it.
All right, cool. So Hurricane Hector basically passed with no real issues here in Hawaii.
Great.
Um, in terms of because I'm a volunteer for the Kaniela Inc. campaign.
Excellent.
Dues paying member of DSH. That's what we call it here.
Sweet.
Yeah, changed it from DSA to DSH.
Sweet.
What else? Fuck. In terms of what I heard from the campaign, that we have a pretty strong ground game. But in terms of like when I do phone banking or just hearing stories from canvassing, there's still a lot of complacency here. So I guess concerned for our future, like we should all be,
Yeah,
regardless.
Well, look, man,
but
I got to say, I mean, Daniel Ing specifically, Kaniel Ing specifically is only 28. He's got many more things to do. And people got, like, I have to say, there was there's a Bill Scher column, and Bill Scher's actually literally, like, he's a good dude. I've known him for years. Obviously, completely different politics, but from the same town. And he used to do stuff with Sam and Jeannie back in the day. But, like, that Politico headline that, like, oh, Abdul Saeed not getting the nomination, done for socialism, is just wrong. And conversely, though, I think people, even when we have a bad night, we got to stop, first of all, like, Talib is going to Congress. Missouri beat right to work. And you've also got crops of candidates now, like in Abdul Sayed. That guy's going nowhere. Kanyela Ing is going nowhere. Like, we're on the move, and part of taking risks and being part of an insurgency is that there are losses, and it's a learning process. So, I get it. We're in a very grave situation, but certainly don't let one house race determine your level of sort of overall optimism.
I mean, definitely. I don't believe in inevitability of it, but yeah, communism, we need to make it win, more or less. But I mean, since it was the topic, like Jordan Peterson, that storm is coming here in November.
Oh God.
And yeah, and I'm just like wondering, like,
aloha.
Like, yeah, I don't want to give that fucker any of our money.
Right.
At the same time, like, how to, like, I mean, because like I go to a lot of like anti-Trump stuff, and we've got our own like chapter of Proud Boys, so it's a good thing to like identify who these fuckers are, because they're the ones who are really, like, I guess you could say, like the freed corpse if shit goes down.
Yeah.
And but another thing, I mean, since Jamie isn't there, I don't really want to get into this thing, but like on Tuesday she was talking about like how she's a libertarian socialist versus authoritarian, but I mean, I feel like that's kind of a ahistorical look about like how revolutions occur.
All right, well, hit her. You got to hit her. Yeah, don't bring. I mean, in general, I get, like, I mean, obviously for Sam, you can't. You could bring stuff up that involves talking shit about Sam while I'm here. Is basically my point. But for everybody else, keep it classy.
Because because in terms of like people who have been converted like ideologically, like I would say that I was originally an anarcho-communist like my entire life, and like listening to Sam's like reasoning about how like it doesn't matter what you call yourself, it's just a matter of getting shit done and improving people's lives. So like I guess I've converted to like Marxist Leninism, Sederism. Like I see him as my chairman in a way.
Wow. Well, that's really disturbing in its own way. No, I agree with you. I mean, obviously, we had to talk about this on the TMBS post game, and I think the word socialism means and conveys certain really important and distinct things, and I'm willing to kind of like go through the body blows on that with some people to explain things that actually matter. But I think in general, yeah, I'm exceedingly not worried about terminology mostly. And I'm much more concerned about delivery and real, that type of thing.
I mean, and these things are they become what they are, right? Like the DSA is becoming something. It's not nobody's really guiding what it's
organic.
Becoming. Like and you have, of course, you have debate and fierce debates over that. And I actually think that is the best way for those things to organically develop. But like what is socialism meant in like the 20th century versus what democratic socialism is going to mean in an American context over the next 50 years, I think are different things. And I'm not too concerned with trying to guide that missile right now. I think there's more important things to worry about than like that terminology.
Indeed. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for all the Socialism slams. As a dope.
That's funny. I love it. I'm not really trying to slam him, but I'll take
that's what happens when Penguin Classics puts Jordan Peterson on the introduction, is fuck Solzhenitsyn now.
No, that's exactly right. You took a really important historical figure in his context, and you've reduced it to the garbage of the moment. You're calling from a 312 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, a couple days ago, you had a Navy veteran call in who grew up in poverty and like joined the military and sort of became radicalized.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to sort of share that sentiment because basically have the same story. You know, I joined the Navy out of poverty, and when I got out, I sort of had a hard time swallowing the fairy tale that we can't do things like free healthcare or housing or cooperate like that socially, because ironically the United States military is basically like the workers' utopia. Paid paternity leave, free healthcare for all, housing if you need it, food for everybody. And like I'm hoping that more veterans who are listening to this will call in or find other mediums to speak out and share their experiences. That's basically all I just wanted to say.
Awesome, man. Appreciate the call.
Is it Nate Bethea? He was on I was telling you, a Nostalgia Trap.
Oh, okay.
And they were talking about this exact same thing. But yeah, that like there's obviously like MAGA issues. There's like MAGA veterans, but there's also veterans that realize like, oh crap, like I grew up with this GI Bill, or I got this, my college paid for, and I have healthcare. Like, yeah, this shit should be everybody's.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the call.
Am I still on the line?
Yeah, you still are. Go ahead.
The other thing that was kind of cool about the experience is, I was on an aircraft carrier in the Pacific Ocean with 5,000 people, right? But those 5,000 people were just randomly plucked up out of the country. So you had, I worked in an electronics lab with people from Texas. My boss was from Bend, Oregon, and he had never met a black person in his life until he was on the carrier.
Wow. And
it was like a really cool social experiment where if you're, have a shred of like human decency or the capacity to listen to other people, you can't walk out of the military and be blind to the issues that face people of different, minority communities.
Right.
And
right.
That was just like another really cool aspect about the military. It was really weird. Like I came in expecting it to be like full of conservatives, like jackbooted people, like I grew up poor, like I already came in with some sort of suspicion that I'm poor from Chicago too. Like I've seen cops do some like really jacked up stuff. So I kind of came in like, with one eye open, so to speak, when I went into the military, like had my guard up, but it's full of like left-leaning people. And I really just hope that they speak out more, because we have not like a platform like you guys, but we have somewhat of a platform being veterans. Like
totally,
we're, Abby
100%.
Martin sort of speaks about how like veterans are deified in America, especially if you get more to like the MAGA side. They just like have a real hard-on for veterans.
Right.
After I got out of the Navy, the first thing I did was I got a hammer and sickle tattooed on my shoulder. And I know that sounds kind of stupid, but really it's just sort of you can't forget the lessons I learned. It's not somewhere visible. It's really just me. But I also went to Standing Rock, right, to help the native peoples, defend their land. I thought it was like a little bit like tacky. Like, really, we're still trying to steal land from Native Americans? Like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, give it a rest. But on the way out of there, I was listening to a talk show. It was like one of those right-wing syndicated fucking Rush Limbaugh clones.
Right.
And they had like a congressman for the Dakotas on there, and he was talking about how all these veterans went to Standing Rock, and he was saying stuff like, oh, they're like building bombs there and blah, blah. And I called up and I was super respectful. I was like, hey, sir, you know, like, I'm a guest in your state. Like, I spent some time in the camp, and, you know, I've been around munitions and ordnance, and I didn't see anything to indicate that there was anything like that going on. But, you know, I'm not from here. So if you have like information about that, you know, I'd really like to know. And like, I'd hope that you'd be willing to share that with me. And, you know, he started like pushing these talking points. But as soon as I let him know I was a veteran, it was a total 180. Like, whoa, thank you for your service. I got to go. You know?
That's awesome.
That put them in a very iffy situation, actually, because they might have handled it well in that case, but there was other guys who were saying that veterans with like PTSD and stuff were coming up and being taken advantage of by the Dakota Access Pipeline protesters, which like you could tell how much panic it would take for somebody to go there.
Oh, totally. I mean, no, but I think, yeah, man, I just appreciate everything. That's an awesome call. I hope you call in again. Yeah,
absolutely, man. I love your show, and keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Also, Jordan Peterson sucks.
Thanks, brother.